Okay, so we'll start with the Mangalacharan prayers. Those prayers are already listed in the introduction. Also in Bhagavad Gita introduction, also it's there. Om Jnanam Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsa Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapt Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Panchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhuve Vacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Picharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschadye Shatarine. Actually, I was supposed to take from verse 7 onwards, but I think Jayamanohar Prabhu told me he could not finish 6 in the last class, and anyway, I will cover that. So, okay, so let's get started actually without waiting. We'll start with verse number 6. Let me share my screen. I have prepared some slides here. Hare Krishna, Nitya Triptamati just joined.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay, Prasmantu Prabhu here.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna, Prabhu. Sorry the delay.
That's okay. Let me just close the door. You have a very nice picture at the back where one is the Madhurya Ras, Radharani in there, and then Madhura, and then he's in the Virha, Radharani, very nice. So, okay. Okay, so today we'll discuss 6 and 7 verses. Okay, let me go full screen. So, verse 6. Let me recite. This is anyone who knows the recitation for this or wants to recite? Wants to try? Just 1 minute. I think I'm getting one call. Just 1 minute. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So let me recite. So this recitation goes like if you have heard Brahma Samhita. So I'll just recite slowly and you try to follow. One of the things to learn is to recite these verses in pronunciation. I'll recite. दृष्टैः स्वभावजनितेर्वपुषश्च दोषे. This is coming.
दृष्टैः स्वभावजनितैः वपुषा दोषैः.
Yes. It looks like this. Let me recite all 4 lines and then maybe we'll do one line by line. Let me read again another time, one more. First line. दृष्टैः स्वभावजनितेर्वपुषश्च दोषैः न प्र. Yeah, go ahead. You wanted to.
दृष्टे स्वभावजनिते
स्वभावजनितैः
दोषै
न प्राकृतत्वमिह भक्तजनस्य पास्ये.
भक्तजनस्य पदस्थिते
प्राकृतमभक्तजनपश्ये
गङ्गां भसां न खलु बुद्बुदफेन पङ्के.
गङ्गाभसंभस्सन्न
लुब्धबुधफेन पङ्कैः
ब्रह्मद्रवत्वम् अपगच्छति नीरधर्महे.
ब्रह्मद्रवत्वम्
ब्रह्मद्रवयमपगच्छति
अपगच्छति
नीरधर्मे.
Okay, so this is the verse. It's same meter as how we recite Shri Brahma Samhita. You follow. So it's 14 syllables per line, and there is a technical term meter known as Vasant Tilakam. That's the meter in which we were singing. Let me just read. You don't need to repeat now. I will just sing this from all 4. दृष्टैः स्वभावजनितेर्वपुषश्च दोषैः नाप्राकृतत्वमिह भक्तजनस्य पश्ये गङ्गां भाषां न खलु बुद्बुदफेन पङ्कैः ब्रह्मद्रवत्वमपगच्छति नीरधर्मैः. Like this, we just recite. So if you once practice, then this will come. And also, I think pronunciation you should already know. The when we have dot at the in sa, it's become sha, and when we have dash at the top of a, it's big a, like that. Okay, so let's do word by word thing and word by word meaning. It's important to know each and every word, because one of the things which we should learn is how to remember the meaning of the verse without mugging up. Like sometimes we mug up the English translation, but then we forget. But if we try to remember the word and then try to arrange the Sanskrit words in a way which makes sense, like in a flow, then it's easy. So I need one volunteer. I will read the Sanskrit and I need one volunteer to read the English.
Prabhuji, I can read the English.
Okay. I'll read Sanskrit and then you just read the English. Iha, here on the screen.
On the screen, Prabhuji, I don't see.
You don't see?
No.
You see the. Sorry, am I
Prabhu,
sharing?
first
Right?
slide. Now we can see.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, now you can see. Okay, let me make it. Now you see the full screen.
Well, I see your screen. It's not like full screen, but it's good enough.
Okay. But you see the Sanskrit meaning. Sorry.
Yeah, I
Prabhu,
see.
you can see the slides, like, all the slides on the side, and then the screen. Then your text
Meaning you're
slide.
not in presentation mode, but it's like you're developing your slides.
Oh, I don't know why you're seeing different, because I was in a presentation mode.
There you go. Kind of.
Okay. If I make it full screen. Is it okay?
Yeah, Prabhuji, it'll work.
Or this was better?
No, this is fine.
Okay. So let me read. Iha
In this world,
drishtahe
due to seeing
doshahe
the faults
swabhava janite
arising out of the nature
cha
or
vapushaha
the body of the devotees.
Na
One should never
pashet
perceive
prakritatvam
mundaneness
bhakta janasya
in relation to them, those that are devotees.
khalu
Just like
ganga ambhasham
the waters of the Ganga
na
that never
apagachati
give up
brahma dravatvam
their status as spiritual liquid,
nira dharmahe
merely due to the presence of apparent faults of water,
budbuda fena pankhe.
viz. Bubbles, foam, and dirt, vis-a-vis bubbles, foam, and dirt.
Yes. Okay, so all this is what I'm doing now is some called in Sanskrit anvay. Anvay means, so once first we have to know the meaning of each and every term. So even in Prabhupada's translation, like he do a word to word meaning, but then we have to arrange these words. For example, I have iha first and drishtahe then second and doshahe. So we have to arrange in a way that it makes, when we read the translation, it it adds up to the translation, because in Sanskrit you can arrange the words before, after, anywhere, but in English, if you have to convert into the English, you can't do that in English, right? So in order for us to derive the meaning, this, if we arrange the Sanskrit words in a way, then it makes the meaning. For example, now if I just read the English translation for word to word meaning, it will make sense, right? Let me read. In this world, due to seeing the faults arising out of the nature or the body of the devotees, one should never perceive mundaneness in relation to them. These devotees are just like the waters of Ganga that never give up their status as a spiritual liquid merely due to the presence of apparent faults of water, that is bubbles, foam, and dirt. Right? So when we read now the word to word meaning in sequence, it's making sense. Like in English also, it's adding up and making sense. Right? So otherwise, if you just read the Sanskrit and if you don't know the meaning, then it's difficult to absorb, and then the Sanskrit becomes something like foreign. Now, if you see drishtahe, those who know little bit Hindi can make out drishtahe comes from drishti, which means seeing, right? So drishtahe is seeing. Dosha we know comes from dosh, the faults. Swabhava janiter, swabhav we know is the nature, arising out of the nature. Cha is or. Vapu we know vapushaha comes from word vapu. Vapu means body, the body of devotees. Na is not, one should never pashet perceive. Prakritatvam. Prakritatvam comes from word prakriti, and when we add tvam with ness, so prakriti is also mundaneness, right? Bhakta janasya, in relation to them. Bhakta is devotee, janasya is in relation to them. So like that, Khalu, just like Ganga Ambhasham, the waters of Ganges. Na, that never, apagachati, give up, Brahma Dravatvam. Now, Dravatvam is something we know, Dravya, comes from word Dravya, right? Little bit of Hindi, if you know, that helps here. And then their status as spiritual liquid. Anything liquid, sometimes it's known as Dravya also. Nira Dharmai, merely due to the presence of God. Now, this one, like Budbuda. So we can easily make out the bubbles, they make this sound Budbuda, right? With that comes Budbuda. Fena is foam, and Pankher dirt. So that way we understand word to word meaning of the Sanskrit terms of this. And now let's go to the translation. The translation, as I said, of this verse goes like, in this world, due to seeing the faults arising out of the nature or the body of the devotees, one should never perceive mundaneness in relation to them. These devotees are just like the water of Ganga that never gave up their status as a spiritual liquid merely due to the presence of apparent faults of water, that is bubbles, foam, and dirt. Be able to comprehend? So here this verse is telling us that no matter there are faults in the devotees, either because of their nature in their behavior or their bodily defects, but we should never perceive mundaneness. We should never consider any faults in the devotees. We should never think that devotees are mundane, meaning they are materialistic. We should never perceive those mundaneness in relation to them. And Rupa Goswami gives a very nice analogy of Ganga water. So we know the waters of Ganges has a special quality, this spiritual. It's coming, Ganga is coming from the spiritual world. So no matter how many impurities enter into the Ganga, still the water of Ganga remains 100%, 108% pure, right? It never decays, never deteriorates. No matter if there are apparent bubbles, foam or dirt, which will apparently be seen on top, like in the months of monsoon season in India, you see bubbles forming of foam, people are washing and all those stuff, but still the Ganga as Ganga maintains its spiritual liquid status as spiritual liquid, does not change. Same way, if the devotees are performing Krishna Bhakti, they are performing their bhajan, right? And it covers all the devotees, not just pure devotees. I think in the previous class, you would have discussed 3 levels of devotees. Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, Uttam Adhikari, right? And you would have also discussed how one should behave or give respect to each category. So all these 3 devotees, one should never perceive any faults or mundaneness in relation to them, even though those faults may be arising or looking visible. But just because they are performing bhakti, they are considered as good as Lord. Like they have that spiritual capability, just like Ganges maintains his spiritual quality or spiritual liquid, even when there are apparent faults like bubbles or foams or dirt or things like that going into Ganges. I hope you were able to comprehend. Is that meaning okay? So that's the meaning of this word. And why Rupa Goswami is giving this? Because one of the big obstacles in bhakti is when we start seeing faults in others. We ourselves, nobody in this world is perfect, right? This world itself is not perfect. We cannot expect the living entities of this world to be perfect. Everyone has faults. But the nature is that we enjoy or we take pleasure in pinpointing the faults of others, because that gives satisfaction to us that, okay, this person has faults, okay, even I have faults, it's okay, right? So, but we should not see the faults in devotees, and that's the obstacle in the path of bhakti that takes us back in our bhakti, and also in certain instances can contribute to something which is known as Vaishnava Aparadh, right? Okay, so we'll discuss all this in detail. Why is that, and why only the devotees? Why not Rupa Goswami say, due to seeing the faults arising out of the nature or body of humans? He's specifically saying, do not see the faults on devotees. What is it that is so special about devotees, right? That Rupa Goswami says that one should just simply ignore. One should not perceive mundaneness in relation to them. That's the point we'll discuss. Okay. So now I need one more volunteer. Maybe someone else to make it. Anyone here volunteering? I'll just simply ask one question, very basic. Okay, Vikas ji raised hand. So yes, Vikas. Vikas ji, have you been to Milton before, right? Have we met, or we are meeting first time here? You are on mute.
We are meeting first time, Prabhuji, but I have been to Milton ISKCON. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'll list out some personalities here, and you just tell me what is your opinion. Are they those personalities most of them are pure devotees. Will they have any faults or not? Or do you think? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, do you think he will have any fault? No, right? Next, Rupa Goswami. No. Sanatan Goswami. No. Jiva Goswami. Narottam Das Thakur. So Narottam Das Thakur is disciple of Jiva Goswami, and then there is Baldev Vidyabhushan. Bhakti Vinod Thakur. No. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Srila Prabhupada. And I say Bhakt John. What do you say? For Bhakt John? No? Okay. But do you know who is Bhakt John? You don't even know. Okay. You don't know. Okay.
So long as he's a bhakta.
As long as he's a bhakta, that is the right attitude. As long as there is a word bhakta written in front of John, we should not see. But typically what we notice, why I put this, that for our Goswamis, all these are pure devotees, like except Bhakt John, all are pure devotees. We don't know much about Bhakt John, so we can't say he's a pure devotee or not. But he's still a devotee because there is a word bhakta written in front of him, right? And we are not here to judge whether he's pure or not. Just because he's doing bhakti and he's a bhakta, he's chanting name, we should not see fault in Bhakt John also. Obviously, we should not, there is no fault in all the great personalities which are listed. But human tendency is like that we tend to see faults in our contemporaries. We see like our contemporary means the devotees which we see around. However, we have great faith in the personalities who have left the world, right? Like Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta, these are all great, even the devotees before. So this is Bhakti Vinod Thakur also mentioned that normally this is human nature to see problems or faults in our contemporaries, in the devotees who are there. Why? Because when we see, okay, there are 10 faults in that devotee, we feel ourselves satisfied that even if we have 2-3 faults, it's okay. That person has more problems than me. That's why. But for all previous acharyas or devotees, we have more faith. And let me tell you one thing, in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, which we'll discuss next, it's mentioned by Rupa Goswami himself that there are 18 major faults which are found in this world. And it's because it could be even in the pure devotees, those 18 faults, and the faults are arising because of the nature of this material world where we are. So even though the soul is pure, he's a pure devotee, but because of this nature of the material world where we are in, one of the fault could come in, right? But one should just overlook just because he's doing bhakti. Okay. So that's the message for Rupa Goswami. That's the message. Now let's come to the question about what's so special about devotees and why devotees have that position where Rupa Goswami is giving us such high elevated position compared to normal non-devotees. Okay, because he could have written a generic statement instead of devotee. He could have written, "Don't find faults with any human, any living entity," but he specifically restricted that category or only to devotees. Let's discuss and see what's so special about devotees, and that will increase your appreciation for devotees, because sometimes we, being in the devotee circle, we take it for granted that we are in the association of devotees, right? But it's we need to see how great is that position of devotee is. Anyone who has chanting the name, and even greater if someone has taken to the path of initiation and surrendered his life, have taken diksha, right? For that, we need to understand the karma part first, because we have to see how what is the difference between the karmas and what's non-devotees versus devotee. Okay, so I'll quickly go through. Maybe you know this. So one type of karma is sanchit karma. which is aprarabdha karma. It's also known as aprarabdha. So consider it is like it's a cumulative karma from our previous human lives, which is accumulated, and it is waiting to bear its fruit in future lives. So it's somewhere a pile of karma which we have accumulated, either good or bad. It's a mix, right? Based on our previous life. And key thing here is to know that this cumulative karma is acquired from previous human lives only, because karma is only applicable in human life. It's not applicable in animal life, nor in the lives of demigods. So karma does not apply to Devi Devta, demigods, neither to animals nor plants. Only the karma bandhan is there in human lives. Okay, all the cumulative karma which any human would have acquired, everyone carries a bag. That's known as sanchit karma. Sanchit by meaning it means cumulative, also known as aprarabdha. But the fruit of it has not yet come into the play. It's still in an accumulated state, waiting to bear its fruit.
Prabhu, sorry to interrupt. Are you moving the slides or are we still on the first
No,
slide?
I was moving.
Oh,
Did you not see?
Now we can see. Thank you.
Oh, maybe you are able to see, not in the
Yeah,
presentation.
Now we can see. Yeah, Sanchit
Okay.
karma and that.
Let me know. Now you see.
Yeah. Now we can see. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, so next comes prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma is what we are bearing, which the fruit karma that has started bearing in fruit in the current life since the birth of current body. So this karma, as soon as the soul enters the womb, before and then remains in nine months in the womb, right? That's where this prarabdha karma starts. So prarabdha karma is just basically, you can say, like, it's a pile of karma. Consider a pile of grains, and you took a handful of grains, and that becomes our destiny for this life. Right? That is the prarabdha karma, and that again has punya and pap, results of punya pap from previous life. That's why a person suffers or enjoys material happiness based on his prarabdha destiny. Sometimes we call it as destiny. So that is the destiny. As soon as soul enters and takes the birth, this starts. And sometimes you will see the child immediately dies in the womb itself. That is his prarabdha karma. He does not even see the light of the world, right? That is the prarabdha karma, because his karma has started there the moment he gets into the womb. So it may be that his karma like that, he dies in the womb. Sometimes you see a child comes out and he has deformities and problems and all that. This is all prarabdha karma. Nobody can do anything about it. And then comes last category, kriyaman karma, which is the new karma we create in current human form of life. A new karma any human creates in the current form of life. Whatever we do, whatever humans do, creates a new karma. And this kriyaman karma goes back. It can give some reaction in this life, or otherwise it can go back to the sanchit karma, and the cycle continues. Then when person leaves the body, then a portion of sanchit karma from the heap of sanchit karma, Mother Nature takes out a handful, and that becomes his prarabdha. And then he comes out, bears his prarabdha. And for Kriyaman, whatever actions he do, it creates new karma. That's how a living entity is entangled in this cycle of karma, because there is no way out from this karma cycle. You have to suffer or enjoy the results of your prarabdha. And then when you start doing actions, it creates new karma, kriyaman, which gets added to sanchit, and that keeps going on. This is karma bandhan is in the human form of life. So you are with me, I understand this part. Just to give you an analogy of bow and arrow. So if you have a bow and arrow, so there is a quiver of arrow like which goes into your back. That is the sanchit karma. And the moment someone takes out the arrow and release it, and it's in the air, now it has released, very difficult to hold back. That is the prarabdha karma. So prarabdha karma, now it's very difficult to hold. Once you are taken entry into the womb, you are given this destiny. You have to bear or suffer. Nobody, no force in the world can change that. Right? Prarabdha. Like people do go to astrologer and this, that, and all that, but nothing. But this is what the arrow has been basically released, and it's in the air. And Kriyaman Karma can be compared to a newly crafted arrow. So you created an arrow. Now either you release it or put it in your quiver, depends on you. So if it goes into a quiver, it goes to a Sanchit Karma. If it is created and right away it's released, it becomes Prarabdha. So some reaction we can get in this life itself. Okay. Now,
But
what is...
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have a question here.
Yes.
You said like whatever we have in the present karma, it's our desire whether we can keep it or we can release it. How?
No.
How
What
we
I'm
can
saying,
do that?
result, not. So we have only adhikar on karma. Karma we do, but result is given by the laws of nature. So either the result could be given in this life, or it can be accumulated and go to a sanchit karma, and in future life we have to either enjoy or suffer the result. Result is not in our
Okay.
hand. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Only the karma is. This is, I am not talking here, I am talking karma in general, which applies to anyone who has taken birth as human. Okay, it does not apply to dog, cat, rat, tiger, or it does not even apply to higher species like demigods, Devi Devta. Their karma is not applied. It's only humans who have this. And that is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavad Gita also, right? Krishna says karma bandhan is applicable to humans. So now what is so special about devotees that Rupa Goswami gives them in a different category? So the special thing is, which is coming from Padma Purana, and also it's from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, that the devotional service bhakti, it destroys all the karmas. So there is a, you can see the screen, right? Next one. We just go this and then go this. So aprarabdha phalam papam kutam bijam phalonmukham pramena praliyeta Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. So what does it mean? That for those who are engaged sincerely in Vishnu Bhakti, Krishna Bhakti, their sins are destroyed in following sequence. Aprarabdha. The karma stored from previous human lives, destroyed. Kuta. Kuta is kind of aprarabdha, heap of karma from aprarabdha that will soon bear fruit. Like it's about to fructify, but it's still not have fructified, but it's a kuta. It's about. And then comes bija. Bija is, it's a karma from heap that will bear fruit in the very next life, right? If you put this analogy compared to the, what do you call, agriculture, you will understand. Like as soon as the farmer has considered a big pile of seeds, right? That is aprarabdha. Now he takes a handful of those seeds and put it aside. That's kuta. Next he decides, out of that handful, I will take few bija and tomorrow I will plant. That is bija. Like he is about to bear fruit very next. And then comes Phalonmukha, which is the prarabdha that is currently bearing fruits. Prarabdha is once the vegetation is ready, then it's bearing the fruits. Okay. So what Rupa Goswami says or quotes in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu from Padma Puran, that all these different kinds of karma, aprarabdha, phalam, kuta, bija, phalonmukam, they get destroyed just by performing the bhakti of devotees. And that's what makes them special. Because just by doing the bhakti, all these karmas are vanished. And I'll tell you technically also at what stage these gets vanished. So that means devotees are not carrying the baggage of karmas. All their karmas are vanished. Okay. So then the question will come that then why the devotees have suffering, right? Why devotees suffer? So first of all, all these karmas are vanished at the time one takes diksha, initiation. So there is a sacrifice, and Krishna says, right, in the Bhagavad Gita also, 1866, Sarva Dharman Parityaga Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja Am Tvam Sarva Papepyo Mokshishami Masucha. So Krishna confirms that all the sinful reaction he takes away. But what stage it happens? It happens right at the stage of taking initiation. That's why in taking initiation from Guru is is required. That is the first step to start bhakti, because now all your previous baggage karma, which are mountains of karma, are just burned to ashes. Like you just put the fire, everyone gone. Now you may ask that I understand previous karmas are, which are aprarabdha, are burned, no problem. How about the prarabdha one? Prarabdha is because we have already taken birth, but bhakti is so strong it can even change or burn the prarabdha also. Okay. And one of the things for prarabdha karma, as soon as someone takes birth, one of the prarabdha is the jati is determined, jati, where, which family, which caste he is born. Now it's very difficult to undo that jati, right? Like, but the moment you are taking initiation, your jati also change. Now you are no more born in the family of Sharma or Brahmana or this and that. Your jati changes to whatever you are born, to the jati of which Lord Krishna is. You will become part of Lord Krishna's family. That's why Prabhupada says whoever has taken initiation, his gotra also changed to Chuta Gotra. We become part of Lord Krishna's family. Lord Krishna officially accepts us as his own. And this is, I'll show you a verse to confirm this. Okay. Diksha Kale. Diksha Kale Kare. So this is from Antya Leela. This is Chaitanya Charitamrit. I'll just open this verse. What's taking time?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Prabhu, what about the previous life karma?
That is what I'm saying. All are burnt. The moment you are taking initiation, you accept a bona fide spiritual master, or spiritual master accepts you as his disciples, all are burnt.
And also this life.
Yeah, whatever. All backlog gone.
Okay, whatever. Okay.
Yep. Now I'll tell you what happens after that. Why devotees suffer, what happens. I think somehow this is not opening. Okay, let me go this one. This is opening. Let's see. 4, 22, 4. Yeah, here. This is the verse I was going. So they see here what is happening at Diksha Kale, what I was saying. Diksha Kale Bhakt Kare Atma Samarpan. Huh?
Your screen's not showing, Prabhuji.
How come I'm sharing my screen?
Still see the.
Wait. Tell me now if you can see. Because I'm sharing my laptop.
Yeah, now we can see it.
Now I see? Okay. I was reading Diksha Kale Bhakt Kare Atma Samarpan, Sai Kale Krishna Tare Kare Atma Sam. First line is very easy to understand, that at the time of Diksha, Diksha Kale Bhakt Kare Atma Samarpan. Like Bhakt is doing Atma Samarpan, surrender to Krishna through the medium of spiritual master. Now what Krishna is doing, Sai Kale Krishna Tare Kare Atma Sam. What it means is, at that moment, Krishna considers that particular soul and accepts him to be as good as himself. So if I read the translation, at the time of initiation, when a devotee fully surrenders unto the service of the Lord, Krishna accepts him to be as good as himself. So at this moment, all our karma bond and our jati also change. So you are no more belonging to the jati in which you are born. The jati changes to the Krishnas. Like the devotee becomes a part of the family of Krishna. And who does this? Guru does this, because Guru is the representative of Krishna. The moment Guru initiates a devotee or a soul, the jati becomes changed and all karmas burned. Right? That's why it's very important to formally take initiation, because this is all happening transcendental at the time of initiation. It also gives impetus to devotees to prepare once for initiation. So now I'll go back. So So this is what bhakti does. It destroys all the karmas of the devotee. Now you may ask, then why does devotee suffer or enjoy material thing? Because if their karmas or previous karmas are everything gone, why there is a suffering? So that suffering comes because of two reasons. One is because of seva aprad. It's mainly because of aprad. Now, one thing we need to understand from now on, because we are devotees are part of Krishna's family, whatever they do is they are not under the jurisdiction of Yamraj or Maya. It's Krishna who we are devotees are under the jurisdiction of directly under Krishna. So sometimes if we do something wrong, abominable, so that is considered as not now a pap. It's no more a pap. It becomes aprad. Okay, and then Krishna reserves the right to give us the reaction of that aprad, and it's up to him. He may give small reaction, he may give big reaction. It depends all on him, and that's why you may see devotees are sometimes apparently suffer, and there are bodily problems, bodily challenges, but that is two things. Krishna says that sometimes he purposefully gives that suffering just to make that devotee more closer to him, because in the time of suffering one one remembers the Lord, and one his faith further increases. That's one. In other instances it may be due to the seva aprad or vaishnava aprad. Okay, so that are the two reasons. Now there is other thing that, so this makes devotees in a different category, and that's why Rupa Goswami is saying that one should not find faults with the devotee, right? Because apparently there may be some fault, like some devotee may have problems in behavior, some may be looking little rude, some may be there are bodily deformity, bodily challenges. All this should be overlooked. The only thing which needs to look at devotee is the good things. The one good thing which a devotee is doing about, which is surrendering his life Krishna and working for Krishna, taking name of Krishna, it supersedes all the faults which are there in him. Overtakes. Krishna also does not consider any fault in neither Ram. I'll give you example from history, like when in the case of Ram Leela, right? Don't you think Sugriv did not had fault? He had fault. But the moment he surrendered to Lord Ram overlooked all his fault and was ready to do everything for Sugriv. Otherwise, Sugriv also was like, once, if you remember, Lord Ram promised him that I will kill Bali and give you the kingdom, and then you help me in searching for Mother Sita. So he killed Bali, gave kingdom, but then Sugriv was enjoying in his material things. He became king and he forgot, and then Lord Ram has to remind him. So he had faults. Same way, everyone in this material world have some fault, and that's the reason we are in this world, because this world itself has fault. It's imperfect and it has fault, so that's why. Okay, so in text 6, if you read, there are 6 warnings which we should be mindful of and don't make that. One should overlook a devotee's having a body born into a low family, a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or a disease or infirm body. So these are at the bodily level, that one should never ever put down a devotee, or even think in one's mind that this devotee has this problem, or he has bad complexion, or he's from this, that. One should just simply overlook a devotee having a body, even if he's born in a low family. In Bhagavatam it is written, even if one is born in the family of Chandal is the lowest of the mankind, like dog eaters. If he can take to the process of devotion service, he can become the topmost Vaishnava. And Prabhupada literally did that. Like the lowest of the lowest hippies, he make them happies by initiating them and making them topmost Vaishnava. All this, right? So that's first. Second, this Krishna conscious movement is transcendental science, and there is no room for jealousy. Okay, it is meant for Paramahamsa who are completely free. As soon as anyone becomes envious, he falls from that platform of Paramahamsa. One should not be envious or jealous of devotees. That's second. Say no to criticism of bodily defects of Vaishnava. One should not criticize but overlook such defects. The main consideration is the devotional service of the devotee. Sooner or later, one will come to the stage of pure devotional service. It's just a journey. But the thing is that sometimes we give all due respect to pure devotees. Oh, he is pure, or all the sannyasis, or all the gurus. But we forget to give the same respect to the devotees, that contemporary devotees, and we find, oh, this person did this thing, this thing, this thing. You should just avoid this also. This is to consider a Vaishnava's bodily defect is offensive. Such an offense is serious, dangerous, and obstructive to our path. So by pointing out defects or by putting down, even verbally saying, is obstructive for ourselves only. Because Krishna won't like that, Bhakti Devi won't like that, and that takes the taste from our bhakti. Sometimes people say, right, I'm not getting taste, I'm not able to move forward. So they have to introspect and see, are they making these mistakes? Are they doing what you call criticism of devotees or anything, right? If yeah, then correct it. Because if it becomes grave, then one may completely lose his bhakti lata also. It may dry up the bhakti lata which is growing.
Prabhu, just one more thing I wanted to say here.
Yes.
That even if you're not criticizing and you're being a part of that criticism, just being there and listening to it also is obstructive for your bhakti.
Yeah, one should also not listen. Like someone else is criticizing, sometimes someone calls, oh, and starts cribbing about other devotees. One should not listen. Say like,
and this happens
here.
a lot.
This happens a lot. And if you see, like recently, our Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj left the world. And if you hear the offerings which devotees were reading, he never listened. Like devotees come all the time to him, this complaint, that complaint, and most of the complaints are interpersonal, right? This devotee did this to me. He will never hear like those kind of things. He will say devotees are all good. The fact that devotees are taking the holy name, teaching, giving their life, is in fact more than the reason to overlook any of the small shortcomings that may have. Because those shortcomings, as I told, is because of the fault of this material world. And it will take little time to go away. But the problem with thing is everyone highlights those faults only and just ignores all the good which a devotee is doing. Like on a white sheet, if there are some small dots, black dots, everyone's attention goes to those black dots, no matter how wide the sheet may be. Same thing happened. So he will never actually encourage devotees to crib about other devotees or make complaints. He'll say, particularly when it comes to his own god brothers, anytime he just go and apologize to that devotee. Even if sometimes we think we are not at fault, just apologizing just resolve everything. One sorry saying resolves all things. Because the thing which prevents us from saying sorry is our ego. And that ego is the main thing which is keeping us in this material world. The moment we get into the situation where we get offended, then our ego is getting destroyed. So sometimes Krishna creates these kind of situations for devotees, to teach them some lesson or this thing. So one should just consider, particularly when it comes to initiated devotees, as I told, their lives are completely controlled by the Guru and Krishna. So whatever is happening because of the will of both Guru and Krishna in their lives. So they should not be worried or cribbing about or doing going around devotees. That's dangerous. It becomes an offense, and that may obstruct.
Prabhu, I have a question in this regard. So
Yes.
this is what our behavior should be with devotees. Like, we should just go apologize if there is, a fight or an argument. Never hold a grudge. But
Yes.
does it also apply with non-devotees? Like, if you're, let's say, your family members.
No, it
Like,
doesn't
let's
apply
say,
to non-devotees. That's why this whole thing is Rupa Goswami gives for devotees.
so let's say somebody is, we have an argument or an issue or whatever with someone who is not a devotee. We should just leave it as it is and not apologize, or that's my
No,
question.
first of all, we should avoid
Even
this
if it's
situation.
not
Like,
our fault. Even if it's not our fault.
yeah, we should maintain a distance. That's why if you see
Yeah.
previous instruction, it says to maintain some distance from non-devotee, not get too much indulged with them.
Right. But if they're a family member, you just, there is no choice.
Yeah, family members, there is no choice. Yeah,
Right.
even in that situation, one should just move on. Like whoever fault it may be, just move
Yeah.
on. Just don't hold
But
the grudge.
sometimes, we hold grudges for so long that the relationships break, and because
Yeah.
of those grudges, because nobody is coming, and because of ego, again, the same point.
This is the thing.
Even if you're a devotee and you're not going to apologize to someone, then you are you have that ego that's making you stop and,
Right.
But even after that apologize, he's still keeping the same
One thing
situation.
I will want to say is, as I was saying, nothing is happening just as a coincidence. Sometimes we have to see what is the reason. What is the reason behind? Like that person will not act in a way where he's acting just by, like there could be a reason, and we have to solve the reason, not the person.
Yeah.
So the reason could be that Krishna created that situation sometimes to teach us something, right? So we should accept in that mood. Like, for example, we had certain behavioral defects or problems within us, and someone just want to correct it. And because he or she is senior to us in age, he may talk in a authoritative way and we may not like it. Just give you an example. So we have to accept in that spirit. And as far as possible, don't get into the arguments particularly arguments happen when it comes to relatives, when there are financial exchanges, right? So try to keep that to a minimum. So that is another principle. Like wherever you have these delicate relationship, friends, close friends, one of the principles of Shastra is not to get into the financial dealings, particularly when it comes to your close friends, close relatives, even businesses, because that creates problems. We'll discuss that topic some other time, but
Thank you. No. Sorry to break the class and ask that question.
Otherwise, that whole itself can become one class. How to deal with.
Sorry, Prabhu, one
Yes,
more
yes,
question that's on my mind. So if someone is non-devotee, right, and he's suffering, is really badly suffering with the problems, disease or something, right?
That is
So
because of his past karma. Yes.
past karma. Okay, so if we how he can like
Get rid of that.
So just only do the chanting and just do the because he cannot go to right now to the temple or just to just chant.
Yeah. So what chanting can give is, it will give him spiritual strength to overcome that. Like he still have to suffer. Like if someone gets a life-threatening disease like a cancer or heart or anything, that is because of past. That is how he is supposed to suffer in this life. So one has to bear that suffering, but only thing which chanting will do is give him the spiritual strength to overcome. And if he looks the whole thing in perspective, that this is my previous bad karmas are getting burned, so let me bear this suffering now, because otherwise this suffering will possibly come in future. So better to get this burned now than to wait later. So that's another way of looking at things. But sometimes because of this situation, even if that person being a non-devotee, he can come to the devotional service. One of the 4 categories of people who come to Krishna is if they are if they are in dukkha, if they have problems in life. It may happen. That is Krishna's way of bringing them like by hook and crook. If they can come to Krishna consciousness, then at least their life would be successful. So yeah, from our side, devotee side, we can encourage them to chant the holy name, take to the process, and someone can recite if they are not in a situation where they can even get up by themselves, recite kirtan, read Bhagavad Gita to them. Yeah, that will help. Okay, but anything which we do astrologically or this wearing stone, I don't think it's gonna change much, because this is prarabdha which is there. Only thing, as I told, in old Shastra says, only the bhakti can destroy the karma. There's no other force in the world who can destroy. Okay, so say no to criticism or neglect because of birth. So this we already discussed. Sometimes people are born in a families of Goswami, so they have this title behind them. Their surname Goswami is a common title, but just by having a title in your name, surname Goswami, does not make you Goswami. You have to also show the behavior. So whether one is Goswami or not, as long as he's doing a bhakti, he's taking the name of Lord, he's Goswami, he's devotee. To call a devotee American, etc., and discriminate on such grounds is offensive. Pure devotee may not be born in Brahman or Goswami family, but because he is engaged in devotional service, he should not be neglected. Even if a devotee sometimes seems to engage in abominable activities, he should be considered a saintly person because his actual identity is that of servant of Krishna. He is not to be considered an ordinary person. Okay, and this is, Prabhupada gives it in the purport to this verse. He quotes from Bhagavad Gita, Api Chetsu Duracharu verse. I'll just show you quickly. All of you can read this. 4, 6. Yeah, here. Api Chetsu Duracharo Bhajate Mam Ananya Bhag Sadhur Eva Samantavya Samyak Vyavasito Hi Saha. Krishna is saying that even if a devotee sometimes seems to engage in abominable activity, he should still be considered a sadhu, a saintly person, because his actual identity is that of one engaged in loving service of Lord. So if Krishna is considered him as a sadhu, then who are we to say anything to that person? In other words, he is not to be considered an ordinary human being. Anyone who is taking the name of Lord Krishna, chanting faithfully, sincerely, he is not an ordinary human being. He is considered a sadhu. That is Krishna's verdict, final verdict on Bhagavad Gita. So we should not look down upon that person, even if he has some apparent misbehavior. Okay, because Krishna says in the very next verse, 931, that very soon he will be reaching to the stage of perfection. Right? When a child starts to like walk, it takes him a month. Like, it's not that on first day itself, after coming in this, he starts walking. The same is the case. We are all devotees are learning, but they are on the right path. Say no to materialistic vision. So based on your materialistic position in society, one is not inferior, superior. One is inferior, superior according to his spiritual development. One is forbidden to observe the activities of pure Vaishnava from material point of view. This is also very injurious. One should try to see the internal features and devotional service of such a devotee, and this way be protected from offensive mentality, himself become purified. Those who think that Krishna consciousness is limited to a certain section of people or a certain tract of land are generally prone to see externally. Such people are called neophytes. Like, sometimes Indians, I think, have this thing because we consider ourselves to be Indians, and we think all this thing is our natural birthright. It's true. Indians are naturally pious. Those who have taken birth in the land of India, that's topmost birth. But then there are other sections, so we should not look down on other section of people if they are devotees as well. Not that, okay, we have the right to practice. Everyone has a right, equal right to practice. Say no to mistreatment of an empowered devotee. An empowered person is who is actually engaged in the confidential service of Lord, should not be treated as an ordinary human being. Now, I'll tell you one thing. Sometimes devotees get into the problem with the management of the temple. One thing we have to understand, that the management of the temple, like temple president or anyone, he is empowered by Srila Prabhupada and by Krishna to be holding that position, right? It's not that, again, coincident that one fine day is someone XYZ, even without having any qualification, just become a president of the temple. No, he is there because Krishna wanted him there, Prabhupada wanted him to be there. So that's how he ended up there. So there is a Krishna's hand. So we should look like that he is an empowered person. He is holding that position. He is doing that service. And he is doing that service without anything. So one should not get into, again, a mistreatment of an empowered person. Sometimes we think empowered person is only Prabhupada or some sadhu or like a top sannyasi. But even a person at temple level, if he has been given certain service, he is empowered to do that service. It's not randomly that one is just chosen. So one should not be jealous also of an empowered Vaishnava or try to bring him down to his platform. These are all injurious to one's own devotional service. You should not be envious, because if one has given the particular service, that means Krishna has chosen him to perform that service. Now, there may be difference of opinions in doing that, but that is where the maturity comes in. One should let go small things for a bigger vision. So many times when Prabhupada was around, devotees used to come, oh, this president, we have a problem with this, he's not acting, he's this. Prabhupada says, okay, are you ready to become president? Then you become. And the moment you say, the person backs up, oh, no, this. So that is what happens. So we should always be a part of the solution, not the problem. The problems are there. This world is material world is full of problems. You should always try to become part of solution. Okay. If there is some problem, see how it can be resolved and put the solution, not just take the problems. Okay. Say no to attempts to discipline yeah, this is another. It is an offense to consider an empowered Vaishnava an object of disciplinary action. It is offensive to try to give him advice or to correct him. So no advice, unless that is another disease which we have. Like sometimes people start giving advice without even asking. If someone is not coming to you or for any advice, just don't give advice. In Shastra, it's written only the teacher, spiritual master, parents have the right to correct their dependents. If we are not in one of those situations, then we should just leave, like not give free advice to anyone, right? So because there is a thing of called adhikar, whether you have adhikar or not. We have adhikar on our dependent. As a parent, yes, we have a right to correct our children. As a spiritual master, he has right to correct the disciple. As a mentor, he has right to do. But if one is not in those situations, then just keep mouth shut. And then even if we see something wrong going, better to always inform the authorities. Okay, so that finishes text 6. Any questions on this one? So the main message is just beware about the mentality of criticizing devotees and finding fault with devotees. So that is the message from Rupa Goswami directly in Nectar of Instruction 6. And that aligns with what Krishna has mentioned in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We saw the verse Apichet Duracharo and all other previous Vaishnavas.
Prabhu, I have a question.
Yes.
So we just talked about adhikar. So only teacher, spiritual master, parents, mentor, they have the adhikar to correct. But sometimes, like it's very like it's not small, but like sometimes people come to the temple. They're maybe newcomers. They don't know how to pay obeisances. Those little things. Like, and then sometimes they take selfies with the Krishna in the background. So those you're not allowed to take pictures like that. So is it okay to correct them, or should we still?
But in a polite way, not in a rude
in a
way.
polite way, right?
Polite way, that see, and we have to tell them the reason also. For
Right,
sometimes
yes.
people appreciate when we tell them the reason that why it's not appropriate to take pictures with deities. Like
Yeah.
that we have to correct, and most often than not they understand that, and then they sometimes people don't know how one should behave, particularly when it
Right,
comes to
right.
newcomers
Yes.
in the temple environment, right?
Mhm.
Because they
Okay.
are coming from outside environment where it is becoming common today to take pictures and be. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes, so we
And
can
also, people they do the mridang seva when they're playing the mridang and they're singing also. They should have that tilak, right? So we can tell that right way when they are.
Is it okay to tell them?
Is it okay to tell them like you should have tilak when
now
they
if he's
people
if he's
tell
a
that?
seasoned devotee, then no. But if
No,
he's
like
like
a young boys or like a
No, but wo agar if they've been doing that seva for a while and they're not putting the tilak, so should we go and approach and tell them
I
or
don't
no?
think so. No,
Leave it.
because we have to see if we do we have adhikar there in that situation. We
Yeah,
don't have.
yeah, that's the thing.
So what we can do is whoever that devotee is under, like if there is a kirtan lead or management, then that devotee at least have some adhikar there. But just like going to someone and say, oh, that doesn't, he will also see from where is he coming, who is he to
That's right.
advise me, right? That's how people take it.
Right.
They take the pencil. They say,
So we should not. That's where we have to see where we have adhikar, right? And
Yeah.
if we have, then yes. If not, then just because other thing which we have to see is by pointing out, are we able to help that? Are we able to resolve the situation in a and help that devotee? If not, then again there is no reason. Like why you will give your advice if you know that devotee is not going to take it.
Yeah.
Better
If you're
to
close to them, I think then okay. But not
but they are when they are coming in the temple that can they are coming so like it's so long. We should maybe tell that and they might be team leader or something. They should
yes,
be
yes. They will
fashionable dress.
definitely.
So that way they to other people they will inspired.
Let me tell you what happens. Even after coming for a few years, people don't understand the importance of tilak, and just because they don't know the importance, they feel it's not
Unnecessary.
something which is not important. Then you just tend to not do. So I think what needs to happen is take
maybe
classes
educate.
of Vaishnava thing and importance of tilak and kanti and all that with that devotee, and that has to happen through their authorities who are assigning the seva. That is the appropriate way of keeping that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next quote. Let's go to verse 7. Okay, let me go back to my slides. So 6 is done. So now let's do the structure of, let's do a quick revisit. And I want to highlight this. The structure of Shri Upadesha Amrit is that verse number 1 to 6 is specifically meant for Sambandh Gyan. Sambandh means, if you know this term, Sambandh Abhiday Prayojan, Sambandh means, first of all, we should know who are we, what is the relationship with Lord, who is God, what is the relationship with devotees, all this. That's what we see, the things which are favorable for bhakti, things which are unfavorable, how to deal with devotees, how not to deal with devotees. All these things is there in the Sambandh Gyan. So first 6 verses are applicable, or you can say, therefore everyone can follow. Now, verse number 7 and 8 is specifically for Abhiday. Abhiday means the actual process of doing bhakti. That is a Abhiday. And 9, 10, 11 are Prayojan. Prayojan is the goal. Okay. Now, 7 and 8, as I was talking about Adhikar, I want to say now that 7 and 8 applies specifically to those devotees who have already taken initiation. Like 7 and 8 talks about certain things which are applicable only for initiation. And those who have not taken initiation, it will apply to them when they take initiation in future. Okay, that's the only point I want to make here. And then same, from verse 7 to 11 is specifically meant for devotees, initiated devotees. And those who have not yet initiated, it give them impetus to also prepare themselves to take initiation, so that in future these verses will apply to them. But 1 to 6 applies to all, whether initiated, non-initiated. 7 to 11 is for initiation devotee. So let's look at verse 7. verse 7 is the scientific process for regaining our pure Krishna consciousness. Like what we should be doing now. What is the abhiday? What is the process of bhakti? So in just 2 verses, Rupa Goswami will cover that. Okay, so let me just do this one. So let's do one. So same meter, this is also like Brahma Samhita. I'll recite. Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapi Vidya Pito Patapta Rasanasya Narochikanu Intavadara Danudanam Kalu Seva Jushta Swadvikramada Bhavati Tad Gadamula Hantri. So it's exactly recited in the way Brahma Samhita is recited, and verse 6 is recited, known as 14 syllables per line is same meter, Vasant Tilakam. And let's do the Anvay, word to word meaning. So again, I need a volunteer here. I'll recite Sanskrit and then you can read the English.
I'll do, Prabhu.
Okay. So you are able to see the screen, right?
Yeah, now, yes. Maybe we'll have to scroll down a little bit after.
Yeah.
But I can't see the whole thing. Yeah, I think it's okay now.
Okay, let me do. No.
How amazing.
Api.
Even though
Krishna Nama Charitadi.
Krishna's names, pastimes, etc.
Shriyat.
are certainly
Sita.
sweet like sugar candy.
Na.
They do not
Rochika.
appear tasteful
Avidya Pito Patapta Rasanasya.
to a tongue bittered by the jaundice of beginningless ignorance.
Kintu.
However, if
Saiva.
that same sugar candy
Jushta.
is accepted
Anudinam.
every day
Adarad.
with due respect,
Halu.
then it certainly
Bhavati.
becomes
Kramad.
progressively
Swadvi.
tasteful and
Tad Gada Mula Hantri.
fully destroys that jaundice at its root.
Right. Now, can you read this English, just English?
Sure. How amazing, even though Krishna's names, pastimes, etc. are certainly sweet like sugar candy, they do not appear tasteful to a tongue bittered by the jaundice of beginningless ignorance. However, if that same sugar candy is accepted every day with due respect, then it certainly becomes progressively tasteful and fully destroys that jaundice at its root.
Yes. Yes. So in this verse, Rupa Goswami already knew the state of living entities. So he's saying that even though the Krishna's name pastimes are so, you can say sweet, it's sweet like sugar candy. Now this is the sugar candy, which is natural sugar candy. When you condense the sugar cane juice, there is a sugar candy without processing. It's sweet, everyone knows, but someone who has this disease of pitta disease is when like we had different airs inside us. So pitta is rog and it transforms into the jaundice. Someone who has jaundice. Anyone here has jaundice in their life? Luckily, no. Good. So those who have jaundice can relate to it. Like if you in the jaundice condition eat something sweet, it will appear as a bitter, very bitter. Even eating food also bitter. Even when we are unhealthy, when we have fever or we have some problem, we don't feel like eating. So saying Krishna's name is form pastimes is like sugar candy, but because we have the jaundice, what kind of jaundice we have? We have the jaundice of beginningless ignorance, avidya. Then the word come avidya here, avidya. That is the reason we are not able to relish that nectar which is coming out of Krishna's name. Like when we start chanting in the morning or we don't feel like doing. Okay. So Rupa Goswami already knew the problem, and he's also giving the solution. It's not that he's just pointing out the problem, he's giving the solution. So we'll discuss. This is very important verse. Someone who wants to really make progress, he needs to thoroughly understand this verse in and out, because it talks about the problem, and it also gives the cure of that problem. Okay. So this is the translation. How amazing! Even though Krishna's names, pastime, etc., are certainly sweet like sugar candy, they do not appear tasteful to a tongue bittered by the jaundice of beginningless ignorance. Mark the word beginningless. This is here comes avidya. So avidya is translated beginningless ignorance. However, if the same sugar candy is accepted every day with due respect, then it certainly becomes progressively tasteful and fully destroys that jaundice at its root. Okay. So this is our condition, or the condition of the person who starts chanting the name, like in the beginning, who starts chanting and we have no taste. This is the disease state, no taste for chanting Naam, hearing about Krishna. As soon as you start class, you literally see half of the people just walks out on some pretext or the other. I have this service, I have that service. So no taste in hearing. Same chanting, sometimes people struggle to chant, because even though this is full of nectar, this is the most nectarian thing, but because of the disease state, no taste. Everything Krishna conscious tastes bitter, just like sugar candy tastes bitter when someone is having the disease of jaundice. Okay, so this is the condition of living entities, and it's natural. It's not that this is something unnatural. This is how it is supposed to be in the beginning, but it should not remain like this throughout the life. That is where the problem is. Like if this is the situation in, let's say, first 2 3 4 years of Krishna consciousness, is fine. But if the same disease jaundice is not going down even after 20 25 30 years of practicing Harinam, that means there is a problem in the process. There is a problem in the person executing the process. The process is perfect, the name is perfect, hearing about Krishna is perfect. It is the problem with the person, and that if the person detects it earlier, then he can take the corrective measure. Otherwise, one can simply chant for 30 40 50 years in a way then he's accustomed to do and still not get the taste. That is why this verse is important to know. So let's say the cause of our aruchi is the jaundice. So when there is a jaundice of body, we had the aruchi in bhojan, disinterest in all food, even in sugar candy. And when there is a jaundice of avidya, then we had the problem of sadhana aruchi. We don't take pleasure in sadhana, whether it's the chanting or hearing or anything to do with sadhana. We have aruchi, disinterest in all sadhana bhakti, even in Krishna Nam. Even though they themselves, their nature is that they are full of juice, full of nectar, but because of this jaundice, a person cannot relish that nectar. Right? This is the problem. So causes of our disease, we know, ignorance. This avidya is beginningless, meaning it's anadi. And what is this avidya? Avidya is forgetfulness about Krishna, which is anadi, which is beginningless. Like we cannot go back and trace in the time when we become bahirmukh to Krishna, meaning we turned our back towards Krishna, we become bahirmukh. And that is the problem of this aruchi, that it is ignorance, forgetfulness of Krishna, and attraction to his external energy. Okay, and also accepting bad false shelter. So these are at the individual level. These are the causes of our disease, because we need to know the causes of disease. Doctor needs to know the cause before he can cure. Same way, this disease is something which is not going to go away very easily. So we have to know, and Guru, being the doctor, will cure this disease. And that's why this verse is applicable for the one who is initiated, because someone who is diseased, he can't help himself. He needs some external help to cure his disease. right? And that external help comes in the form of guru. Causes of our desire, disease, further, there is a collective thing. This is mentioned in purport that Prabhupada says that because in Kali Yuga, the leadership of the world is becoming atheistic. All the leaders, most of the leaders, 99% are atheistic, or they don't follow the Vedic system. So they are blind. They are the miscreants who are grossly foolish somehow, unfortunately, takes the top position in the society. And then they create an environment where it's challenging to surrender to Krishna. So they basically oppose those who try, right? So that causes a problem. Like if the leader is atheistic, then the whole society tend to go in that direction, because all the policies, everything in that society will be geared towards that. Okay, so what is the cure? So if none of us have jaundice, but in jaundice, even though the sugar candy tastes bitter, but the cure itself is sugar candy. Like if someone keeps taking the sugar candy, the jaundice keeps going down, it treats. So similarly, the cure for this disease is sadhana bhakti is the cure. And this is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavat. This verse is coming from Srimad Bhagavat, where it proves how sadhana bhakti is the cure for our aruchi, distaste in this process. This is from 1 Canto, 2nd chapter, 16. शुश्रूषो श्रद्धयानस्य वासुदेव कथा रुचिः स्यान् महत् सेवाया विप्रः पुण्यतीर्थस्य निषेवनात्. O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. So here in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's mentioned that if we can get the opportunity to serve those devotees, pure devotees who are already freed from all the problems, vices, right? If we are able to do some service to the Sant, to Vaishnavas, pure Vaishnavas, then doing that service, one gains affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva. One automatically gets the ruchi. Shushro Shraddhananasya Vasudeva Katha Ruchi. That second line comes, that one gets the ruchi in relishing the Vasudeva Katha. Right? And this comes in context of Narad Muni in Srimad Bhagavat, where Narad Muni in his previous age was the son of maidservant. And all he did was serve the devotees for Chaturmas when they came. He was serving them prasad every day, cleaning their plates and then partaking. Just by doing that, he gets ruchi in the bhakti, and he had one darshan of Lord for a slight moment, but next life he becomes Narad. So that's one. Now next comes cure for disease state. This is from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Adhau Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sango Tatha Bhajan Kriya तो अनर्थ निवृत्ति स्यात् तथो निष्ठा रुचिस तथा. So here comes the ruchi. तथा शक्तिस तथो भावस तथा प्रेमाभ्युदंचति साधकानाम अयम प्रेमणः प्रादुर्भवे भवेत् क्रमः. So this is the translation. This is the sequence of rising of prema in sadhaka. It had to be processed, like, because we have been bahirmukh. Bahirmukh means we have turned our back to Krishna for anadikal, meaning beginningless, right? So it takes time. It will take time to reawaken that love, to get that ruchi. But there is a process. First process we already know, we should have Shraddha. Without Shraddha, Shraddha in what? Devotional Shastra. Because devotional Shastra is the one which authorizes even the Guru and Vaishnava. And we hear that one should return to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. The Shastra is the one which makes the Guru and the Sadhu bona fide. So one should have Shastra. Shraddha in Shastra, then Sadhu Sangha, association with like-minded advanced sadhus. Bhajan Kriya, execution of sadhan bhakti. Then removal of anarthas. Then comes Nikshtha and Ruchi here. A natural appetite for performing sadhana bhakti. That is what we need. Not that someone tells us that do or we are doing it because it's a matter of duty. We have finally taken initiation, we have taken vows, now we have to do. No, it's naturally we are doing. For example, if someone is hungry, naturally he feels relishment, he feels contentment when he takes the prasad, right? So that natural hunger, and thereafter the hunger for Krishna Nam, and then satisfaction should come. That is called appetite, natural appetite for performing sadhan bhakti, ruchi. So it comes if one follows this process. And then finally asakti, deep natural attachment comes, and then bhav is the early awakening of love, a slight layer of love, and finally prema bhakti comes. So there is sadhan bhakti, bhav bhakti, and prem bhakti. Our goal is to keep doing sadhan bhakti so that we will reach to this stage ruchi. Naturally, we will be able to do, we'll relish. We don't have to be told, or we don't have to be doing because of I was supposed to do it. Like naturally, we will do it. Okay. Now a doubt can come that if the doubt is that everyone who takes the medicine of sugar candy gets cured of their jaundice, right? As I was telling, this is the medicine. And he develops the ruchi for food. Like after 2 weeks, let's say jaundice is gone, and he regains his appetite for food, starts eating. So then logically, everyone who takes the medicine of Krishna Nam should also get cured for their jaundice of avidya, isn't it? Because people are chanting a holy name for some 5 years, some 10 years, some 15, 20, 30 years. So everyone who takes the medicine of Krishna Nam should get cured of their jaundice of avidya and should get to the stage of ruchi, Krishna bhajan, isn't it? But the question is, why does ruchi does not arise in each and every case? Why their success criteria is not 100% amongst devotees? Like why devotees still say that there is no ruchi even after practicing for years and years? So what is the answer? Anyone wants to say the we know the cure, we know the medicine. Now, why the medicine is not working in this case?
It depends on your surrender.
Namaprad, Prabhu.
1 second, let me see. Yes, Prabhu, who said Namapara?
Hare
Vikas?
Krishna, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. And what did you say, Mataji Nitya Triptaji?
Surrender.
Surrender. Okay.
So he's not fully surrendered actually yet. So that's why the bhava is not coming up, or is not doing consistently the japa or devotional service. That's why it's not.
Namaparad. That's Namaparad.
Coming up.
I think there are many
Right.
factors, maybe.
So yeah, so let me, yeah, that is all there, but our Rupa Goswami directly gives the reason why it's not happening in the verse itself, and now we'll see what is that reason. Okay, why does ruchi does not arise in each every case yet? Okay, let me go here. You can see, you are able to see screen, right? I again shared.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
You're on doubt page, so yeah. Yes,
Yep.
answer.
So let me just go to the full screen. I am now going to the answer. Answer is there in the verse. Mark this word Adarad and Anudinam and see the translation. With due respect, every day. So the medicine, the problem is not in the medicine. The problem is in the taking, the process of taking that medicine. So one should be taking this medicine of Harinam every day, even though it's bitter. That's one condition. Because doctor knows how the medicine works. Now, if you don't take it every day, you take it, let's say, infrequently, that medicine will not work. Other thing is, it has to be taken with adar, adarad. Adar means due respect. We should have the respect for this Harinam. And what it means, it should be attentive. It should be attentive chanting, which at least from our end, we have to try to do with other respect. For example, if tomorrow, let's say our guru comes, will we be attending to him and doing several other works? No, right? We will give full attention to that Guru. If he's there in our front of us, let's say we have to do his seva, full 100% attention goes. And let go one step further, is say tomorrow Lord Krishna comes in front of us and give darshan. We will not give our 100% attention to Lord Krishna, what he's saying and what we'll do. We will. But that same attention we are not giving, or same adar or respect we are not giving to Naam. As I was saying, Harinam is also a Prabhu. Harinam, when we start chanting, he deserves that adar, respect. And if we don't give that due respect, then this disease, then that is the problem, that Ruchi will not come, or it will come later, or it will take many lifetimes.
So Prabhu, question. So if you have Guru Guru is there, and you have also service for Guru, or maybe in the kitchen, or maybe another part of the temple. So which will be we should go first with the service, or we first to give the attention to Guru Maharaj or Guru?
No. So we meet with the Guru, give respect and do, and then go for the service. That is how it should be.
Point.
Yeah.
When you're there in front of the Guru, you pay full attention to.
But at least when you are in front of Guru, you are not doing anything. ठीक है? Guru है, mobile पे भी बात कर रहा हूँ मैं. I'm talking to mobile. I'm talking to X person. I'm talking this. No, right? At least at that moment you are 100% there.
100%.
That's what it is. That's what it means to give adar. When someone comes to your home, you give full attention to him. Not that the person is sitting and you are talking on phone in other room, or you are in front of him and still you are behaving as if you are not there. So that is another. So the main problem of why Ruchi is not coming is another towards the holy name. And offenses, Naam Aparad is part of that another. But the real problem is another. We have to understand, we have to start giving other due respect to the holy name, and then it will work. Which means when we are doing chanting, give it 100%. Like that moment, give it, consider that Krishna is there. Like there is no difference between name, form, and Krishna. We know theoretically, but even though we can't yet at that stage where we realize it, but let just make our brain or mind remember that this, even if you are doing, let's say, half an hour chanting, 1 hour, whatever, right? Give it full attention with due respect at one place, free from any disturbances, so that there is no external disturbances. That's what it's expected. That's the proper way of taking this medicine of Harinam. It may sound bitter. People still say mind wanders, this, that. That is will happen because mind is not having that ruchi, the not attachment yet. But it will come. It's not that. The problem happens that even after 20 years, if we are still at that level, then that's the problem. Then in taking the medicine, then we have to know where we are going wrong in the process, inquire and correct that process, and take to the right process. Okay. So that sugar candy is sweet. If we are getting attraction to hearing about Krishna Katha, hearing about glories of name, then we are good. Then the process itself takes its due course. We should not be hurry. We should be patient enough, but at least we should follow the process, and it will fructify. Okay, so that is the answer to the question that why even after taking the medicine, some people get ruchi, some don't get, because of the other thing. Adara anudinam. Every day it has to be taken. That's another thing. It's not that one day you skip. Sometimes I see this happens primarily when someone is not yet initiated. They keep accumulating their rounds. Okay, today I was chanting 16, I did not chant. Tomorrow also I didn't chant. Third day you say I have a backlog of now for 32 rounds I will chant someday. And that backlogs they keep carrying for months. So where is the every day and where is the other, right? There. So both are missing in that scenario. So Harinam will not act. So it had to be every day. That is the remedy which Rupa Goswami is giving us. It had to taken, medicine has to be taken every day with due respect and with the faith that it will work. Because even in mundane sense, if you have a disease, if you don't take medicine regularly and you have no faith on medicine, it will not work the same way when you take it every day with full faith that yes, it's gonna make me heal. That faith also has to be there, and with due respect, one should take this medicine. So now next comes, Prabhu was right that Nama Prad. So there are 10 Nama Prad against the holy name. So one should consciously make effort to first understand those 10 Nama Prad. Like every day as we in the all the temples we recite those 10 Nama Prad. One should make effort and go to YouTube and listen about each and every Nama Prad and then introspect. Am I doing this? Am I doing this? So, and then check, make sure we are not doing any of those 10, because that's another problem which will slow down our process, or the ruchi will not happen. Another region which is there, all these apradhs are there: Nama Prad, Vaishnava Prad, Seva Prad. There are 3. All this will create distaste. That's why in verse before Rupa Goswami tells about verse 7, he already told about not to do any fault with devotees, because he knew that will also cause aruchi. It will slow down the process, and that is severe enough that it can dry out the bhakti lata itself, and we may completely be devoid of bhakti. It has that much repercussion, the Vaishnava Prad. So one should read, there are 5 kinds of Vaishnava Prad. One is abusing the Vaishnava, physically abusing. Even there is a Prad, when you see the Vaishnava, if you don't greet him, it's a Prad. Like sometimes people see each other and then they don't even say Hare Krishna to each other because of their previous thing. That is Aprad to each other. So one should know that is Aprad. Like, as soon as you see a Vaishnava, you should greet. And as soon as you see sannyasi, you should bow down before sannyasi. That is the custom. We all discussed this, I think, in verse 5, I think 4 or 5, when we discussed 3 levels of devotees. So there are 5 Nam Aprad. So one should listen and avoid this, consciously avoid this. Before we start chanting, one should, once we have introspected and figured out which one we are more prone to do, then tell to our mind, like, I'm not gonna do this one, and then I will give all due respect to the Nam and do it properly. Then the Nam will take up. Okay, and that's why I was saying that this verse more applies to initiated ones, devotees, because sometimes you need correction. That correction comes from the Guru also, and sometimes it comes from within, once we know. So cure, I already told, chanting Hare Krishna mantra and hearing Krishna's pastimes with great care and attention. Very much required. Sometimes we, on Zoom, I see people are listening also class and doing n number of things. That's a seva prad. Like you are not giving due respect to Krishna Katha. Krishna name, form, pastimes are all absolute. If we are taking it casually and hearing and doing other things, better not to hear them in that situation. Do your work. But if we are hearing or chanting, then do it with great care and attention and give respect. Because consider, as I was giving example, Krishna or any guest also comes to your home and we are not giving due care and attention, how will he feel? Will he ever want to come to your home again? No. The same is the case with Krishna Katha, Harinam. These are all personalities. Like if you think Harinam is personality, he's a personality. If we don't give him due respect, he will not come to us. Harinam will not come. So we have to be watchful when we are engaging in even listening, hearing, reading. We have to give our attention and time. Otherwise, just don't do it. Not do multitasking with this kind of thing. Like I am on Zoom and I am doing other stuff also. That comes under aprad. So avoid the 10 basic offenses. Otherwise, it will not act. The disease will still remain. It's not gonna help us. So we are giving our time also at the same time, because we are not giving full attention. The benefit is not there. So there is a wastage of time also. So that's why better to spend 30 minutes, but good quality 30 minutes, rather than spending 3 hours and no unfruitful 3 hours. That is the cure for this. This one we covered. Okay. So healthy state is like after time in this verse itself, it comes that bhava, preliminary state of pure love of Godhead comes, and then the conditioned soul becomes free from material existence, and then automatically he loses interest in bodily composition of life, and he can understand, because now the name will show its effect, and he can understand from within who Krishna is and what Maya is. So he's not affected by Maya, because if he is attached to Krishna, Maya will not impact. He's undisturbed by Maya. And in purport, you can read there is a sun and shadow analogy given. So that is from the purport. Maya, wherever there is Krishna, if we are engaged, then Maya is at the back of Krishna. If we are in the front of Krishna, Maya Devi cannot impact or affect that person. But the moment we become lethargic, then we go away. Then the Maya will attack. So that is one more thing. Any questions on this verse? This is important because this is directly dealing with our sadhana bhakti, properly doing it, and it had to be do with two things daily with respect. Now you may ask me question that sometimes people casually were doing chanting, right? They are going around or driving or do. So is it okay or not okay? What do you think?
As long as you're, well, driving is not good because you have to pay attention to driving.
Yes.
I've seen,
not
like,
okay.
I don't know, like if you, if as long as you're paying attention to the name and you're not distracted by the external environment, as long as, I think that's okay. But of course, driving you cannot, because driving you have to pay attention to driving.
Okay.
And also
Yes.
will not count that your regular.
But you,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's hard to drive and chant anyways.
Yes. So answer is there. We should not be doing driving. And as I was saying, we have to see the we have to give the respect.
Respect.
So even casually also we should not, like sometimes I see, let's say devotee has done 16 rounds, but he wants to chant more. If you want to chant more, it's good. But you give to give respect, not that you're chanting. There are 3-4 devotees also sitting and you're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and then talking other kuch class. Okay, फिर again standing. This is another हो गया यहाँ पे. Another हो गया हरि नाम का. In those situations, it's better to do kirtan. Like if you want to casually sing, do kirtan in between. Like pick up a tune and just recite that tune. But don't get into situation where another ho jaye. No another to holy name. So better to finish your conversation with that devotee or tell him that I am doing chanting. Better to chant in a place where there is no other devotees. That is another thing. One day I recently we had this Hari Parshad, His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu, I think in GTA. He took a very nice class. I would want all of you to go and listen about Japa, Kirtan, and remembrance, Smaran. We have to understand all these three things. So very clearly he defines Japa. Japa is something which is personal. Kirtan is when we are doing singing, and Sankirtan is when there are 3 or more people doing Sankirtan, right? So Japa is something personal, like where we have to do, and Japa is again, you can here we can have a separate time, but 3 kinds of Japa is there: Vachik, Vachik, Upamanshu, and Mansik. So we should do Upamanshu Japa.
So then, Prabhu, the Japa walk also is not recommended.
No. Yeah, like Japa walk also, unless you are at that level where you are walking and then but your full concentration is still on Japa. Otherwise, in Japa walk, you are looking here, they're talking, and then someone meets, and then all these things are there. Like you can do, but after you're not count under your 16 rounds, like do it later, because japa walk still okay, but like you're not gonna in this place not meet, but count after 16 rounds and give respect. The main thing is Adar is there. Adar should be there. Not take it casually. Otherwise, better to do Kirtan sing. Main thing is Adar. Because another Prabhupada translates this word Adar to carefully. But we know Adar means respect. Like we have to treat that with respect. If you don't treat anyone with this with respect, that person is not gonna come to you anyway. Respect is there. So now we have 10 minutes. I'll show you a few commentary from previous Acharya on this verse. I will just share my screen. And I think Jai Manohar Prabhu already told you that if you want to go deeper into these verses, again, Hari Parshad Prabhu did almost 240 hours of, like 60 hours of class. There are 60 classes on this, plus so many question answer. That's the most exhaustive you can get on this topic. So I'm going to take few commentaries from his classes and share with you, since we have time on this verse, quickly. But if you want to go deeper yourself, he has all those classes available free on YouTube. So verse 7. Okay. You can see my screen, right? Okay. So this is Radharaman Das Goswami. There are 3 Goswamis who have commented on this. Radharaman Das Goswami did a commentary on Upadeshamrit in Sanskrit. Then Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur and Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur has done commentary in Bengali. So there are 3. And there is a book available with commentaries of all 3 on this. And Srila Prabhupada referred to their commentary, and that's how he wrote the purports of these verses. So here is what Radharaman Das Goswami is saying about the cause of aruchi. Due to fickleness of the heart of sadhaka, there will certainly be distaste in uttering the names of Krishna and in other devotional activities. Even if this is the case, the sadhaka should not slacken one's regular devotional practice. The author instructs this in the current verse. So it's given that there will be a distaste, because that is how we are all diseased. It's given, but one should not slacken, one should still continue doing. And then he gives the term avidya meaning. Avidya means anadi vemukhyam. As I was saying, we have been disinclined towards the Lord from anadi kal. That is the reason it's take time. The term avidya in the verse means beginningless disinclination towards the Lord. That is the reason for our being in the material world as well. We have been from anadi kal bahirmukh. We have shown our back to Krishna. We have disinclined towards the Lord. And this avidya is the pitta. Pitta is the jaundice by which one's tongue becomes bittered. For such a jaundiced person, how amazing it is to see that even the sugar candy like names, pastime of Krishna do not become tasteful. However, when that same sugar candy is consumed every day with due respect, here is rain consumed every day with due respect, it gradually becomes tasteful and becomes the destroyer of the root of that disease of beginningless disinclination. So the disease is anadi avidya, like from the very beginning we can't trace, we have no taste and we have disinclined towards the Lord. Because of that, we are not having, but we are fortunate and we have been given this chance to practice. Otherwise, we will remain like this for I don't know how many more. And that is the situation for everyone in the material world. From Anadi Kal, we have been like this. And then this is Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Yeah, he says the third verse describes 6 qualities which are favorable for bhakti. You all discussed. And this particular verse, which is 7th, describes the method of practicing the seva of uttering Krishna Nam. This verse describes what is the method, how one should take Krishna Nam. Such a practice has to be performed with cultivation of those 6 qualities which are there in third verse. Okay, so remember those 6 qualities. And also it had to be done with knowledge of one's sambandha, eternal relationship with Krishna. So this sambandha is established as I was showing when one takes diksha, right? That is where this verse specifically applies to one who has taken diksha. Okay, and Prabhupada also writes in the purport, I'll show you. A tongue jaundiced by avidya, beginningless ignorance of Krishna, cannot perform the kirtan of Krishna Naam and Krishna Leela. So it's already given that it cannot perform the kirtan because it's jaundiced with avidya from so many lifetimes, like we can't even trace. However, when the same Krishna Naam is served regularly with due respect, it destroys the jaundice of avidya. Okay, so in Nectar of Instruction 7, even Prabhupada also writes this thing. He gives the chanting. He has a real disease in the heart. It is the mind is clean, however, all that thing is there. Yeah. He says if one is sincere, he is initiated. And this stage is called Bhajan Kriya. Again, that's why initiation is important. Because if one is sincere, definitely he will get initiation and then this whole process will apply to him. Because you need Guru to create you, to connect for the Sambandh Gyan. You can't automatically do by yourself. One then actually engages in the service of Lord by regularly chanting this mantra and doing all this. So read this. Okay, so now I just want to discuss. Now we are done with this verse 7. Now we have 4 more verses remaining, 8, 9, 10, 11. It will take me 2 more classes to do these 4 verses. And I was looking at our calendar. So the thing is, if we do it on as we are doing on this schedule, which is on Sundays, then that will take us to 7th July, and then immediately following that, normally we had exam, right? So exam will fall on 14th July, but I think 13th July is Toronto Rath Yatra, right? Then we will miss that 1 week. So I was thinking to have exam on 7th July. 7th July is 2 weeks from now. And this is not going to be tough. Only there are 11 verses. You did the exam for Bhagavad Gita module 4, where you had, I think, how many? Maybe 80, 90 verses. Now, this is only 11 here. So that's one. And another thing, so if you are okay, then I can finish this by next week, next Sunday. And then 7th July, we'll have exam for those who are doing Bhakti Shastri. For those like, for example, Ashmita Mata